Start.
The topic for today's discussion is check. What is check? Check is an order to a bank to pay some money to another person. Suppose I want to pay some money to another person. Instead of giving cash, I can pay the amount in the form of a check. So I am giving a check to Mr. Morgan. Morgan is presenting the check in the bank, can get the cash. Now, before that, we can see what we mean by check. Okay, stop. Check. Now we can see what is the check. See, in the check we can see the pay, the amount is given here, the bank is there, this is the format of a check. Now we can see what is the definition of a check. Check is an instrument in writing contain an unconditional order addressed to a banker signed by the person who has deposited the money with the bank, requiring him to pay on demand a certain sum of money only or to the order of certain person or to bearer of the instrument. This is the check definition. Another definition is according to section 5 of the Indian Negotiable Instrument Act of 1881 defines the check as a bill of exchange drawn specially on a specified banker, not on express to be payable otherwise than on demand. It's a bill of exchange. Check is only a bill of exchange. It is drawn on a banker and it is payable on demand. This is the one. Now we can see what are the essentials of a check. The first one, it's an instrument in writing. It must be written in ink nor by pencil. That is not by pencil. That is very, very important. See, is an instrument in writing. We are writing this check with the help of the pen, not by pencil. So, is the first important characteristics is an instrument in writing. It must be written in ink. So, it is written in ink. The second one is it must be drawn on a particular bank. It is drawn by a customer who has deposited the money in the bank. For example, this is a check of the ABC company bank. So, on a person who is having an account, the Sharma is having an account in this bank, he has drawn the check. So, drawn on a particular bank. The third one, it must not contain any conditions. See, the conditions, no conditions. It is only an order. No conditions are not here. So, the third definition, it must not contain any condition. The fourth one, it must be signed by the account holder. Very, very important. The person who has drawn the check is an account holder, should be an account holder. He has put his signature. The signature is very, very important, account holder. Then next one, it is payable on demand. The check is presented, then only the amount will be given to the particular person. So, is a payable on demand. Next one, it must contain a certain order to pay certain sum of money. Certain sum of money is very, very important. So, in the check we can see the amount is given in the mention. The amount is very, very important. The last important characteristics is a check is payable to a specified person. The name of the person should be mentioned here. Here, the Anil Sharma, the pay is. Sharma is having an account, he is giving amount to the Anil Sharma. The Anil Sharma name should be mentioned here. This is very, very important. So, the main essentials of a check is the check is an instrument in writing. That is very, very important. The second one, it means drawn on a particular bank. The third one, it must not contain any conditions. Fourth one, it must be signed by the account holder. Fifth one, it is always payable on demand. Next one, it is payable to a certain sum of money. The money should be mentioned. The last one, the check is payable to a specified person. To a particular person only, the check can be given. The next important thing is, now we can see the check, the characters. The check contains the payer's name, the signature of the drawer, the person who has put the signature is given. The date is also mentioned here. The second one, the bank, which bank is given. Next one, the amount, check number is given. Account number is also given here. The account number is also given here. Amount is also specified. So these are the important things which comes under the check. The first one, the check is crossed. The second one, the pay's name is there. The third one, the date is also mentioned here. That is very, very important. Date is also mentioned here. The fourth one, here the amount in words, that is very, very important. Account number is also, amount is also given. Account number is also given. Signature of the drawer is also given. All this should be contained in the check. Next one, different types of check. Bearer check, order check, open check, cross check, antedated check, post dated check, stale check, and multi check. Now we can see what do you mean by the bearer check. Bearer check means the bearer check means the word or bearer printed on the check. That is very, very important. It is not, if it is not cancelled, then the check is called as a bearer check. The word bearer should be there on the check. The pay's name, here for example the word bearer, the bearer should be there. A bearer check is made payable to the person who presents to the bank for payment. A person who is presenting the check to that person, the banker can make the payment. In simple words, the check which is payable to any person who presents the check for payment at the bank counter is called as a bearer check. The next one is the order check. The word order is written on the face of the check. The word order is written. Such a check is payable to a person specified therein, payee or whom it is into. Order check means the name of the person is written on the check, pay to this person. So it is an order check. The next one is the important check means open check. When a check is not crossed, the name is not mentioned, is called as an open check. This check may be cashed by any bank and the payment of this check can be obtained at the counter. An open check may be a bearer check or an order check. Open check may be an order check or a bearer check. The next one, the cross check. A cross check means drawing two parallel lines on the left of the counter. See, we can see two parallel lines, transverse lines on the left side of the check. Two parallel lines on the left corner of the check with additional words account payee or not negotiable. This is called as a cross check. A cross check cannot be encashed at the cash counter. It can be credited only payee's account. Suppose I am presenting a check, cross check to another person. He cannot take the cash directly. He can put it in his account. The amount will be credited in his account. Through his account only he can withdraw the money. So a cross check cannot be encashed directly at the cash counter. The amount will be credited only on the payee's account. So this is the main advantage of the cross check. The next one is post dated check. A check on which the drawer mentions the date. A date is mentioned, future date, and it is presented is called as a post dated check. For example, if a check is drawn dated 10 January 2012, presented, the date is given is 25th June, is called as a post date June. I am giving a check to another person on 10th January, but the date is 25th January, check date is 25th January. The banker can make the payment only after 25 January 2012. This is called as a post date. I am presenting a check to another person on 10/1/2012, but the check dated is 25th June. So only after 25th only the person can withdraw the money from the bank. The next one is the stale check. If the check is presented for payment after 3 months, then the check is called as a stale check. It's an invalid check. A stale check is not honored by the bank. For example, a check is dated, I'm giving a check to another person, Mr. Morgan. The check dated 10/7/2000. The check is valid for the payment up to 12/10/2020. I am presented a check in the month of July 10th, but check is valid up to October. So within 12th October, he can withdraw the money from the bank. After that, he can withdraw the money. It just becomes an invalid check. That's called as a stale check. What is antedated check? A check, the drawer mentions the date earlier, then the date which is presented is called as an antedated check. Suppose such a date is valid up to 3 months from the date drawn. For example, I am giving a check to Mr. Morgan dated 7/6/2020, and he presented to the bank on payment on 7th, the bank can pay the amount because the check is valid up to which month? September, up to 9th September 2020, up to 9th September, the check is valid. The check is dated on 7th June, but I have given a check only in this month, August 7th, 8th, but he can get the amount because the check is valid up to September 19, 2020. So this is antedated check. The next one is a multilateral check. When a check is torn into two pieces, or such check is called as multilateral check. The check cannot be presented for payment in the bank. The next one is the general crossing. General crossing means when check is crossed, two lines are put on the left side of the corner, this is called as a general crossing. When two parallel lines are marked on the face of the check, this is called as a general crossing. Within the two lines, not negotiable, account pay is mentioned. In that case also, he cannot withdraw the money. The next one is the special crossing. Special crossing means crossing in the bank makes a bank. Here, two lines are given, the bank's name is mentioned. Bank makes the payment only to the banker whose name is written to the crossing. Special cross checks are more safer than here. Only the bank to bank they can make the payments, not to the person. So because within the two lines, bank's names are mentioned here. This is called as the special crossing. Endorsement. Before that, what do you mean endorsement? The person who signs the check or bill of exchange is called as the endorser. Endorser means to person to whom the check is drawn in favor is called as the endorsee. Now, endorsement. Endorsement means signature including on the front or back of the check acknowledge both the parties have agreed to exchange the specified amount on document. It's called as the endorsement. I'm giving a check to Mr. Morgan. I put the signature on the back side of the check, and Morgan also has put the signature. In that case, both the parties, drawer and the drawee, has agreed to the amount for exchange. This is called as endorsement. The signature or account information included on the back of the check acknowledges the recipient received the document and deposited it in. To cash the check, the issuer and the recipient must endorse the document. Negotiation of an instrument is the process by which the ownership is transferred from one person to another person. I am giving a check to another person, Mr. Morgan. Both of them will be signed. Now I am given the ownership of receiving the money to Mr. Morgan. This is called as an endorsement. Thank you. If you want any information, you can give it in the feedback. We can discuss in the next class also. Thank you.